phone's charging, so I can't put the headphones on. Hopefully the machines aren't that loud. Last night's video that I put out, it's gotten a lot of reaction. You know, it's a trip that there's a few people, I think one of them's a CO, honestly. Despite some of the terminology he used. He called me a fucking inmate, so it sounds like a correctional officer. Not a guard, sounds like a correctional officer. A couple people said that I was blaming other people and not taking responsibility. Now obviously these people that made those comments probably just came across this video or just came across this channel and don't realize that I've taken down over 60 videos, but there's one video up that I never took down, the No War Stories video, and I've said that out of respect for my victims and their loved ones, I don't tell war stories. I believe it was in the Keep It Respectful video. It may have been that one. I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I took down a comment where somebody mentioned the name of my victim, the last name, and I always try to show respect to my victims, all of them. I've put out several videos saying that we need to acknowledge our personal responsibility in the choices that we make. So for someone to say that because I said that dudes that get incarcerated, their families are punished, that I was blaming someone, I'm stating a fact. It's a fact. Not only are the prisons built very far away, even for people from up north, it's far for them. They put them in very remote areas for a reason, and then they harass their loved ones, their moms, strip them out, and their sisters and their kids, treat them like shit. You know, that's not blaming nobody. That the mom and the sister, they didn't commit a crime. Their son did, or their brother did, or their nephew did, or their dad did. I'm not blaming them. We all know at some point we have to come to realize that we're accountable for our actions. So, get on, CO. Shot that. I do want to say that Adalberto said that prison is for people who display animal-like behavior, so they must be caged to protect society. Okay, Adalberto. So society has a responsibility to incarcerate those who have committed crimes. And so, according to your statement, you support that, right? And I think most people do. If you commit a crime, you go to jail. But my thing is this. I don't think a lot of people realize that the majority of people that are arrested, they return to their communities. They don't get a life sentence. And so if you don't get what I'm saying as far as we need to actually rehabilitate people, we need to get people to try to figure out what happened to them in their life to make them justify those types of behaviors, we're putting society at greater risk. You know, you take a guy, why is a perfect example? So you would have guys that would come in for some little petty bullshit and they would be doing years next to dudes that were fucking killers. Well, when they got out of YA, they thought like them because they ran with them, right? So when you got a guy that's got a drug habit, and he might just be a petty thief, doing a bunch of little boosting and little bullshit, and he gets to the joint and he gets surrounded by guys that are fucking criminally just super advanced, and see him as someone that, I don't want to go into that, but you got to understand that if your whole thing is let's just incarcerate them but not educate them, then you have to be responsible for that decision, right? If we all have to be accountable and responsible for our decisions, if you choose to support a politician that says he's going to be tough on crime, he's going to lock him up and throw away the key, then you bear a responsibility, because he can't throw away the key with a person that has a fucking determinate sentence, right? Person that can get back out. And so while he goes in, he's learning how to be a better crook and a better criminal. He's learning how to justify taking lives. And you know, you gotta understand that, man. This I don't know, I think a lot of people don't realize. I think it's normal for a lot of people to not see the big picture. They just see what's in front of them and react to that, and then wonder why these things happen down the line. Well, if you go back to your original thought, your original decision, and really looked at it, you would see it would lead to that. So that's all I could say to that. The guy that I believe was a CO correctional officer, he said, "Why are you hating on their career?" Referring to the COs. Why are you hating on their career? He said, "I was just sitting on my ass making videos." Why are you hating on their career? Because they're making a lot more money than you. Okay, I don't hate on nobody. That's a fucking feminine trait. I've said that before. What I was referring to when I was saying these COs are making $100,000 a year to sit on their fucking ass and watch men kill each other. The strongest union in the state of California, probably one of the strongest in this fucking country, is the COs, their union, the CCPOA. I think it's irresponsible that their budget is a higher priority than educating our youth. Their budget is a higher priority on rebuilding the infrastructure of this state. When you compare state to state, the income of the correctional officers, it cannot be justified why California correctional officers make so much fucking money when a lot of the prisons are on lockdown all the time. You know, the hazard pay should be taken away, because when there's an incident, unless it's a guard that instigated something and was punished for it, the CO is not the target. You know, it's convict on convict. So why are they getting that fucking hazard pay? You signed up for the job, you knew what it was. They don't do anything. They sit down, you know, especially like in the 180s, they'll unlock the mop closet and go in their office and go to sleep. When it's yard, they pat you down on the way out. Depending on what joint it is, they only pat you down on your way in, because they want you to take the weapons out, but just don't bring them back in. So, well, you know, I think you are a CO. I really believe you are. So you know what you do. But I just have a problem with their union being so strong and their money guaranteed while our education system fails. California is so fucking far behind the rest of the nation in education, and it didn't used to be like that. But when you look back and you see when the prison system started growing, you'll notice our education system started failing. And throughout history, we know what happens when people are uneducated. Majority of the terrorists in the Middle East are uneducated, can't read. A lot of places in the world where people are uneducated, the crime rate is higher. And so I think there's a correlation between lack of education and which leads to incarceration and benefits a small number of people, whoever it is that benefits from the 32 fucking prisons that we have in the state. If you care about your kids' education and your kids' future, then you would want them to say to start giving convicts access to therapies, different types of therapy, even fucking yoga. This, who knows what the fuck, they can figure that shit out. But society should be tired of the status quo, and that's why there's been a lot of change. There are a lot of people that want change, and so was no hating. It was just, again, stating facts. They do nothing. You know, CO, you do nothing. And the last one I'm gonna answer is Big Rick. Big Rick asked me, do you think every lifer deserves his freedom at some point? I do. I believe that, I've said it before, I believe that everyone at their core is good. Unless you're a righteous psychopath, right? And you gotta remember that lifers have to go through the board, their review, and then the governor's review. So there's checks and balances there. But what's more important, I think, is that they have to believe that, you know, some people, they're just afraid of rejection because of all the shit that's gone on in their life, and so they stay using, you know, or slinging dope or whatever the fuck it is, because they don't believe that they can get out. And it has to do with hopelessness that became a part of their belief system as children. And that's not blaming anyone else, it's a fact. People don't get involved with gangs without something happening in their lives. They're responsible for that decision, but something happened in their lives where they chose to embrace this other family over their own and sacrifice their own life, their own freedom, and every relationship that matters. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out and understand that there was some trauma at some point, and that was a coping skill, that was a coping mechanism, as backwards as it seems. And until they learn new ones, they continue to do that. So yeah, you know, obviously anybody who's a sex offender doesn't deserve a chance, but unfortunately they don't give them life very often. And I have a theory for that also. Let's just say that a lot of those people in power in Washington, they become, something goes wrong up here. And, you know, there's been stories for a long time about the weird ass shit that they do behind the scenes. So why would they want to make stricter sex crime laws? Because it may hit them, it may hit their own household. But anyways, I'm out. You guys have a good one.